hot.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, there was a league of real men that wore helmets and shoulder pads to line up on the battlefields and take out their opponents in a game of gladiators. Those who dared to join the league would be crowned and given rings worthy of kings for being the last of the rebellion standing. With squadrons of warriors comes personalities fit for outlying systems similar to the seediest bars of most Philly, or insane bloodthirsty mutants like those of Raider Nation. All who would dismember or destroy anything standing in their way of victory, even strike a bounty with Boba Fett to put them in carbonite once and for all. And now basically the movie's called Spaceballs because Roger Goodell is making a parody of what we know as the NFL. Yes, the New Orleans Saints were cited in a 50,000-page report to have run a bounty system over the last 3 years prior to Greg Williams leaving for the St. Louis Rams this year. This included their Super Bowl championship season, in which one of the games in question was against Brett Favre and the Vikings, in which it looked like they were pretty much going out to kill the old man. And I got to ask you, Andrew, first of all, what are your thoughts on bounties?
I think that they happen a lot more than we realize, but I don't think that they happen to injure someone else. I think they happen like, hey, here's $10,000. I'm like, let's say I'm Jonathan Vilma, who's in question in this and being investigated. He might throw out $10,000, say, hey, here's for the first turnover that someone gets. Here's for the first touchdown someone gets. Here's for the first sack someone gets. Something like that.
It's like pelts on a wall.
Sure. I don't know that it's being taken to the I didn't know I guess that it was being taken to the degree of, hey, it's the first guy that knocks someone out, or the first guy that can get far out of the game. Well, I think it's being taken to a way too far degree, and I'm looking forward to finding out what happens or their discipline is.
Gods, what are your thoughts on bounties on NFL players? Like if you're getting yourself pumped up before a game and you've got $1,000 for the first guy that can put Favre on the ground, what are your thoughts?
I would say I don't see that I would need the extra motivation if it's, $10,000, $5,000 here and there, because you're already paying me to do that anyways. Like, basically, there was an interview with Antonio Pierce, who was playing, he played under Williams, and his main motto was, I'm already playing hard for it. It doesn't give me any extra motivation to do that. Some players, maybe. It depends. But when we do our scouting and everything, we already know if they're injured and their ankle's messed up or their shoulder's messed up. That's part of the game. You're going to try to weaken them.
Unless if you're playing the Patriots, because their medical report is just like everyone hurt with everything.
Right, exactly. But his main thing was, if he's hurt, of course you're going to try to hurt him, so to speak. But that's part of the game. You're trying to weaken them. They're not trying to. He's not trying to intentionally go and make him lose his NFL career. It's just part of the game. It's a violent sport.
So my follow-up question is: has it become a big story because it's been made so public over the weekend?
Yes.
I think it's a big story because the details have come out that it's not so much what they did, it's the process of how it happened.
Yeah.
It's that the NFL basically found out what was going on, told them, stop it. They told the owner, stop it, the GM and the head coach and everyone and the defense coordinator. Everyone up the whole chain knew what was going on, and they were told to stop it, and they didn't. It's what happens when you disobey what the commissioner is telling you, and to stop it, that's going to get them in trouble. And now I want to get to this after we're done with this topic, Adam, is what we think the punishment is going to be and what it should be.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because my thing was like, wow, they've been saying it's going on for such a long time. I'm like, I wonder what ended up being the smoking gun to all of a sudden for that happening. I'm like, maybe he pissed a player off, or someone was just like, you know what, I'm going to get you back. Watch. Because now with that media, it's once something spills out, it's wildfire. It's Twitter blast.
It's wildfire.
It's a whole bunch of stuff.
Well, players from all generations and many different teams, including Favre himself, have come out over the weekend on Twitter or on TV or the radio to say that this has gone on in the NFL for years. I remember at Westbury High School myself, our defensive team they were all city. I mean, we had a sick defense. We played in the playoffs in the Dome, and I remember they had a pelt system, where they wanted to get those pelts on the wall, where they were rewarded by our coach, not with tens of thousands of dollars, but certain rewards.
Well, college does it with, the little, stickers on the helmets, sort of like that.
Absolutely. But if you knocked a guy out of the game, if you knocked the quarterback down, if you got an interception, there was rewards at practice the next week that you would benefit from. So it's not like it just happens in the NFL. It happens in college. It happens in high school. It probably happens all the way down to Pee Wee. But it's just interesting that it's blown up all of a sudden this weekend. What do you think was that straw that broke the camel's back?
I have no idea what it was, but it seems like there probably was someone that was out to get them, because that's sort of a story. And here's the other thing: is a story like that, it's going to get leaked eventually. Yeah. Too many people know to keep it under wraps for forever. That's my point is, it doesn't matter where the leak came from. It was going to happen eventually.
And I was going to say, when I first heard about it, the first thing, just because the comedic brain just kind of goes in gear, was Cobra Kai. Once I heard it, Cobra Kai.
Sweep the leg.
Put him in a body bag. Yeah.
Sweep the leg. Sweep the leg.
If it does, it does.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's the first thing that came to my head.
Well, you talked about the punishment now. Now we've got to talk about that, because the NFL looks like, is it going to come down all hell and rain?
They have to.
In New Orleans.
Okay, so to set
You
the
thought
stage,
Katrina was bad. This is going to be even worse.
the Patriots, when after Spygate happened, they got knocked the first round pick. That's pretty significant right off the bat. Bill Belichick got fined $500,000, and the Patriots got fined $250,000. Now, by all accounts, everyone's going to get way worse. The suspensions are going to be much longer, and it's not just going to be, Greg Williams. And here's the other thing is, Greg Williams is now with the Saints. With the Rams.
Yeah.
How do you discipline him on a team that he's no longer on? Right. And on top of that, Sean Payton's going to get nicked. Mickey Loomis, the GM, is going to get hurt from this. And if they find out that there was one specific player, which Vilma's name has been thrown around a lot.
Sharper
that Sharper too, that these guys were involved in it. How do you sort of, knock this team? Do you strip them from one first rounder, two first rounders? What do you do? Because this is an issue that the NFL, with the whole quote player safety, is something that with the concussions they're trying to make the forefront thing of. We care now. We're all about it. This is something we care about. We care about our former players. We care about our future players. And we've talked about how I guess the wussification, if you want to say that, of the league, and I guess it getting softer. So I expect them to come full throttle. I would not be surprised if Sean Payton was suspended for half a season.
Well, and Greg Williams, now they're taking the investigation back to his days with the Redskins before he left UT. We all know he was at UT.
Right.
Left, went to the Redskins, and then ended up with the Saints. They're taking it back to the Redskins, and there's players that are coming out and saying that Greg Williams is a hell of a coach, and they were just going out there and doing whatever their coach.
My favorite thing, by the way, on this is Rex Ryan saying, "Oh, I don't put a bounty out. We don't do that kind of thing." Dude, we saw your coaches trip those guys. We saw you guys trip those guys. All right, and we know that you're part of that too. All right, so don't be trying to get away with, "Oh, I'm better than that."
Well, that's the thing. Now, all the other guys, some of the other coaches are coming out, like Joe Gibbs. If you're telling me that you didn't know this was going on in your locker room, you are full of.
Yeah, but the fact that it's the coach, the head coach, the defensive coordinator, the GM, everyone knows, and then the owner. If you're the owner, you have to be so angry because you probably told your guys, "Hey, dude, guys, make this stop," and then it didn't stop, and now it's going to cost your franchise so much after the fact.
Well, it's going to cost the Rams franchise too, because apparently there's word that Greg Williams could get suspended for the entire season for some of his actions.
It's really, they have to figure out in this investigation who was giving the directives, because if they find out that it was like a players thing where Greg Williams was sort of letting it go on, but he wasn't leading it, or if it was a situation where he was leading it and was kind of actively trying to get players to participate, or maybe it goes as far as like Sean Payton was doing it, they have to figure out how far up and who had, whatever say, who was involved with doing what, or who calling the shots, because it could be really, really bad.
Shot calling, man. Well, let me ask you this, guys. If you could put a bounty on anybody in sports or entertainment, and I'm not saying to have him killed, but, to have him knocked out the box like Jonathan Vilmer or Darren Sharper coming around the end, who would that be, G? Who's one person that you would like to have a bounty put out on?
I would have to say, man, you put me right on the spot.
I wanted to.
Wow.
This is real answers. This is true tree right here.
I would say NFL Bart Scott, just because he made those commercials with the whole can't wait thing.
When he played it out.
I put one on him. Yeah, it'd have to be him.
All right.
That's the first thing that's on my mind.
Is this what you want?
Exactly.
What about you? Who would you put a bounty on, Andrew?
Rex Ryan. And I hope he gets hit with the gout where his foot hurts.
Oh, man, now you're taking him out of his game.
Yeah, no, messing up his shoe fetish thing, his foot fetish.
It's foot swag.
But that's one of those guys that, I don't like guys who kind of like, he spouts his mouth up every year. Oh, we're to the Super Bowl. We're going to win it. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And then they don't. And it just seems like, okay, the first couple years it was okay. They made it to all these AFC championship games. But it's like now, dude, you're not doing the same thing. And he's still kind of the boy that cries wolf every year of, no, yeah, you're making it to the Super Bowl again? Oh, is that what you have to say to us again? So I'm tired of his sort of act.
I'd have to agree with him on that because I can't stand to hear one more going to Super Bowl. We're going to Super Bowl.
Best team. Yeah.
Well, you guys went all Jets. I'm going to take it to La La Land, and I'm going to put my bounty on Powell.
Oh, that's where this is going.
Yeah. I thought that was coming real quick.
Hey, Captain Flopper. Somebody needs to take Captain Flopper out, and once and for all, man. You know what? Just hit him in the knees or something like.
Dang.
Can I throw down some cash on Paul Gasol because I don't want to hear his name associated with the Houston Rockets anymore. We're almost at the trade deadline, and we're still talking about the deal that wasn't with Paul Gasol coming to the Houston Rockets. So my bounty goes out to Captain Flopper. Now, nothing permanent. Just take him out for the rest of the season so he doesn't end up as a Rocket. But you know what? The cops, they got a bounty for drunk drivers, too.
Wow, yeah, very nice.
They do, man, and you'd almost rather take a clean hit from Darren Sharper coming around the corner than you would go through a DWI and what it can cost you. And that's why we shout out on Sundays. We shout out Gary Trichter, H-Town's top DWI lawyer. And if you're going to drink, man, I've given you some of these tips, You might feel like it's graduation and you're on the top of the world, but if you don't follow some of these tips, you're going to get yourself in a whole lot of trouble.
Yep.
And so if you're going to drink, like some of our good friends here at Junction Bar and Grill, make sure you have a non-drinking designated driver. Or, you can take a cab or a limo from Junction Bar and Grill. Or if it's really bad and you're like my boy Kerry Havens, you know what? You just park the car and you sleep in the car, man. You don't get on the roads.
Without the keys, though. Without the keys in the ignition.
No,
that is key.
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And if you came on a bike, don't ride your bike.
Do not ride your bike, man.
Just because it doesn't have a motor on it, don't ride your bike.
They will pull you over for drunk driving on a bike.
Gary
That's
Trichter needs to help out the University of Oregon.
All of those cost a lot less than calling Gary Trichter. But if you do decide to drink and then drive, don't have any open containers of alcohol in your car, please.
No.
Who still does that?
I don't know.
I guess there's people out there that
The last time I saw
Louisiana.
last time I saw that was on Dumb and Dumber. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Watch Cops. You'll find out who.
But that dude also had snot frozen to his face.
Yeah.
So that's not a good look,
No,
son.
exactly.
Not at all, man. So follow the traffic laws religiously. Do not give the officer any reason to stop you. And if you do get stopped, do not answer any questions about drinking because the officer's not going to believe you anyhow.
That's not a good look, son.
That's right, Ghostface. Be polite and ask for your lawyer before doing any test, any roadside gymnastics, spouting off your ABCs backwards, which I can't do sober. Z, Y. Yeah, I'm done, okay? So I'm not even drunk, and you're taking me to jail right now? Well,
Don't get caught looking like Tony La Russa.
No, please do not. Well, Tony La Russa is known to knock a few back every once in a while. But continue being polite, and when you ask for your lawyer, even if the officer says you can't have one, you call Gary Trichter. And remember that you're most likely going to be on video, and that's not Amp Houston video. That's in that HPD car right there.
Yeah, there's no CGI camera angle cuts on that one.
Absolutely not. No. That's what they're going to take to court. And you know what? Once you get to court, a DWI can cost you 1 year suspension of your driver's license, 6 months in jail, a $2,000 fine, a $3,000 minimum surcharge.
Quit talking, please.
I'm telling you, a court cost, that's just, in court costs alone, fees in excess of $2,000.
My wallet is running right now.
Double or tripling of your insurance costs. So save your money, save the headaches, put Gary Trichter's number in your cell phone right now. And I know Kadoma said on Thursday night he's got it in his favorites. So we want you guys to add it. And that's 713-524-1010. That's 713-524-1010. Call him in Houston and visit TexasDWILaw.com. Nailed it.
There you go.
Yes, sir. If you want to know more about the laws here in Texas about drinking and driving. So call the Cowboy Lawyer or pick up one of his cards right here on the table at Junction Bar and Grill before you leave the bar, just in case. But you know what? We finished the NFL Combine. It was a great week. We had some great stories Thursday night about guys who are over 350 pounds.
John Terry Poe, that's a scary man.
Running a sub 540.
That's the Popo train.
We recapped it. If you want to see the SRL podcast powered by Amp Houston, go to sportsraplive.com. That's Rapp with 2 P's, and check out our combine. Or you go back last week and you check out our interview with Ryan Grant about his combine experience and going undrafted, from undrafted to a world champ. Dreams do happen, just like our boy Dope Picks. You know, he's back in the mix. He's looking to get into NFL camp.
Nice.
Sometime in the
Big ups
summer.
to him.
Absolutely, man. Jay works hard. He doesn't even come to Junction Bar and Grill anymore because he don't want to have a drink. He's grinding. That's right. Well, hey, you know what? We talked about the Saints' off-field troubles with the bounties. Well, they quietly franchised Drew Brees. It's kind of funny that story came out, and then under the radar, they franchise tagged their star quarterback Drew Brees over the weekend, which leaves the door wide open from some of the for some of his protection and some of his key weapons to walk right out the door.
It's also the quote exclusive franchise tag. I didn't know there was different levels of it, but
Yeah,
there
I
apparently
know.
are. The exclusive right ones means that he's also guaranteed $1 million more than the standard franchise tag, and that other teams basically cannot talk with him.
Big money.
Yeah, that's big time.
Big money. But how do you feel if you're Drew Brees? I mean, these guys don't want to lock you up right now. The owner came out and said that the GM came out and said that he was a really good quarterback, but not a great quarterback. And I'm not reading between what people say. But, I mean, come on. This guy, if anybody, deserves to have a long-term deal to retire as a Saint.
Yeah, he made that New Orleans what it is, straight up. Without him, they don't get that ring.
Oh, hell no.
Him and Payne, that combo.
All-time leading passer during the regular season with 5,300 yards. I mean, the guy is phenomenal, but they're trying to treat it like a business, and that's why you can't ever take business personal.
Yeah.
We always talk about it.
And it's going to cost them probably left guard Carl Nixon.
Sure.
We were touching on that, and probably also Marquise Colston. I was surprised to hear that Colston might be leaving too.
Which is his safety blanket. That's his number one weapon. But he's got Jimmy Graham. You know, we saw Jimmy Graham's resurgence. He's still on the rookie contract in the NFL. He'll have his own day in the sun. But I just thought it was interesting that, you know what, you risked letting other guys walk for the guy that you pretty much know you're going to lock up to franchise tag him. Yes, let's get into that. But real quick, I want to talk about the Patriots, who say that they could be in play for Mario Williams if the Texans can't come to terms with the talented defensive end.
The Patriots have a huge need for a defensive pass rush.
Yes.
You think about this past year, Vince Wilfork was maybe the only guy, and Rob Ninkovich, and he also had a couple games here and there. They really didn't have a pass rush to speak of. I mean, that was one of the worst defenses last year in the secondary, and I think it's also because their the front defensive front wasn't able to get pressure to create those those advantageous positions where they could actually get those picks and whatnot. But they need help so bad, and I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be sad to see Mario Williams leave, of course, but I wouldn't be sad to see him play for the Patriots. I think that would be a good fit for them.
Yep, but you know how Belichick's a great talent evaluator, and I think that Mario would fit right in up there in New England. Well, one Peyton is back to throwing grenades, apparently, and another Peyton wants to be Black Ops. Who says football and war analogies don't make sense? Of course, Peyton Manning, apparently this week, before the big deadline arrives in just a few days.
March 8th.
Is out there, yes. What is March 8th?
My damn birthday.
That's not only Gonz's birthday, but it is DJ.
But it's gonna be Manning Day.
I know.
This video, though, Adam, they got this thing like the Zapruder film. It's out there being analyzed like, I got this angle from this one. I think from this grassy hill, I might have seen him throw an out route. It didn't look good, but I can't tell. Like, what is this? They have all these. He's out there at Duke right now throwing with David Cutcliffe, who used to be his old quarterbacks coach. He was actually at that Duke, North Carolina game.
David Cutcliffe, Rice coach.
Yeah. He was actually out there at the Duke, North Carolina game, I think last night. At least I saw on the bench. But, I'm surprised he has all his teammates out there. Dallas Clark, Austin Collie, and Brandon Stokely, an ex-teammate, were out there, I guess, running this little pass trees with him. But, everyone is trying to find, do you have the good footage? Do you have the good quality footage?
What's going to happen with that? We still don't even know if
He's going to leave. There's no way they can pay him.
Well, we know that. I'm sorry. I just got distracted by some naked chick on Stevie TV. Awesome.
Don't let MTV fool you or VH1.
I know. It just completely caught me off guard. Well, Peyton Manning, we've talked about it ad nauseum. You know, we called the man Andrew Luck for a reason. As Andrew Luck puts up incredible numbers at the combine, even comparable to Cam Newton, as we talked about.
Go to the blog. I posted today on the blog a video that compares the RG3 to Andrew Luck, Cam Newton 40 times.
Absolutely, on sportsraplive.com. Shout out to Andrew Martinez, been on the blog patrol lately, putting up funny videos about March Madness, baseball, football. You never know what he's going to throw up there. JaVale McGee, hey, check it out. But the other Peyton Hillis, of course. Now, this guy doesn't know what the hell he wants to do. After last season, not coming back to play because his agent told him.
Madden curse, man.
Hey, that's exactly what I was going to say, Guns.
And supposedly there's, I guess, the whole Madden rumor starting to happen where it might be Cam on the run for that.
Oh, no.
Cam, if they're going to ask you, run.
Don't do it.
Run. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Absolutely.
This week, Adam, I was listening to LZ. Lance, he had on, I think it was Adam Kaplan on from the sideline view with him, and they were talking about Peyton Hillis, and Kaplan was sharing this story about, I think it was Adam Kaplan, they were sharing this story about one time, because Peyton Hillis used to play for at Auburn, and so he had gotten hurt one weekend, and he wasn't playing in the game. So Auburn went to the road game, they came back, and the team bus, they were coming in, they'd flown in, they were taking the team bus back to the complex, and up drives Peyton Hillis with a deer strung up in the back of his truck. He's got this huge, massive truck, a muddy truck. He's gone out hunting, and Peyton Hillis is just riding there, like looking all happy with the big deer that he just caught that weekend. And his teammates were they were not happy, and neither was the coaching staff with what he had done with himself that weekend instead of not going out there and play because he was, quote, hurt.
Well, it was funny, because he had missed games this past season due to mono and then the flu and then a boo-boo on his
And then he said his
toenail.
agent told him to sit out the game if he had the flu.
Because, he could be a franchise tag player after the season. They wouldn't give him a new deal after.
Who gets mono?
Dude, you know what I think this is? I think this is, I don't mean to be racist or racial here, but maybe this is a white running back issue. I don't know. I mean, maybe they're a different breed. Or maybe they're a different breed.
Or maybe it's a guy that played too much Call of Duty or Black Ops because
he's playing too much of his own game
last
on
week.
Madden.
I don't think so. I think he's playing too much Black Ops because he came out last week and said that he could retire and go join the CIA, and of course he came out and denied it. Yeah.
Doesn't he know Men in Black, what is it, 4 or 5 or 3 or whatever? Does it come out till this summer?
Yeah, and he missed the casting call for that.
Yeah, he missed the casting call for that one.
Because, man, the only spy you're going to do is if you play for the New England Patriots. And last time I checked, he played for the Cleveland Browns, who will not franchise him, and he will be an unrestricted free agent.
Well, I'm not trying to judge him, but does Peyton Hillis even look like a guy that's like, yeah, dude, I could have totally been in the CIA.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Just because he's got his kills up on Black Ops, he thinks that he can go join the CIA. You know
what it was? What's that movie that just came out with that movie that's in theaters right now that I've seen all the trailers for, and it's like a real action, like CIA guys.
Act of Valor.
Yeah, Act of Valor. That looks like so awesome. He's probably like, dude, I could do that with my homies. I can do that for the government.
I just clock in, throwing grenade clock
He's
out.
watched too much Bourne, too. Jason Bourne.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I could run for 1,200 yards as the white running back. I could do anything. I could be a spy.
I'm Peyton Hillis.
I am Peyton Hillis. Well, the funny thing is that, you know what? The Madden curse has become from something that used to be lore or used to be urban legend.
It's the truth.
It is the fact because they state it. When you see articles now, it's not like he possibly fell victim. He fell victim to the Madden curse with a disappointing 2011 season. I mean, when they report that as fact, that's kind of scary.
I'll tell you what, I just hope they don't put John Madden on the cover of that, because that'll be the swan song for him. He'll be gone to better times.
He'll be gone till November.
He'll be gone to the turduckens in the sky.
Oh, man. Any other NFL notes that we need to hit on, guys?
There's still all the talk about what are they Browns going to trade that number 2 pick, and everyone's asking for ridiculous value for RG3. Now they're talking about 2 number 1s and a 3rd. It seems like a lot to ask for that guy.
Well, you know what though, when a star quarterback comes around, and I heard a guy on another station, Doug Gottlieb, he basically brought up the stat recently that 9 out of the last 12, top pick quarterbacks have succeeded, or so-called succeeded. We don't know if Sam Bradford's a success yet. He hasn't even been on the field long enough to know if he's actually going to prove that he is a commodity for the long run.
And even like Alex Smith, it took us so long to figure out that he might be better than we thought. It's just the talent that surrounds him.
Exactly. And the coaching and who is going to guide those young quarterbacks to victory. Now, we saw Ron Rivera, who is a defensive-minded coach. He was the defensive coordinator in San Diego, become the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. And you saw a lot of defensive laps in the Carolina Panthers game this year, but Cam Newton had a solid offensive game. Yeah.
I also want to hit on this thing of Randy Moss visiting with an unnamed team next week.
Is this the mystery team again?
You know what? For a second there, I thought it might be the Texans. I thought it might be because you think about what the Texans' needs are, and what have we been talking about? A vertical threat.
Yep.
And what is he? A vertical threat. What is he? Runs that 9 route. He runs that streak. So
let me ask you this: I
thought he could be visiting us next week.
If you have the choice of signing Hines Ward or Randy Moss, who do you sign?
It's not even close, Randy Moss.
I'd have to go Randy Moss.
Yes.
Not to bash Hines Ward,
right?
But I'm not sure he still at this point in time brings something to the table other than a great locker room presence.
I would say, depending on what you need. I mean, if you're a team with them, they would need more of a vertical threat than someone that can really do well blocking for screens. Because that guy is great. He's a great blocker. Like when they run screens, when it was with Mendenhall and everything, he was the go-to guy on the blocks. But what they need more is a vertical threat on the other side.
Absolutely. Well, one last NFL note before we go to the last break here on the Sunday wrap-up, Sports Wrap Live. Seahawks re-sign Beast Mode, Marshawn Lynch, to a multi-year deal, which is great, man, because I love me some Beast Mode, man.
That's a place that some people think that they might be in the running to get RG3 in the draft.
Absolutely, man. Shout out to Pete Carroll. I'd love to see him rebuild that Seattle Seahawks franchise. They got a great home fan base, and they've got a great home field advantage. I'd love to see them come back. They're still trying to get basketball back there in Seattle. But we'd love to see you guys come back when we wrap it all up. I've got a quick sneaker story that was featured here that we talked a lot about in the Houston Chronicle. And shout out Sundays. Shout out to Kadoma for manning the Twitter tonight, holding it down, keeping it rodeo right here in Houston, Texas. We'll be right back on Sports Rap Live.